Well, welcome to Podcast Tips with Rob Greenlee. Back live again on my typical night, Thursday night, and it's always great to be back here with you. It's always exciting to have the community come in and kind of surround this show and ask terrific questions and get involved in this topic around podcasting, and especially in the convergence world that we live in right now with video and how all these worlds, audio and video, are kind of colliding with each other right now and doing a lot more with it. So this is episode 12, and on the show today, I have a very special guest, and I'll bring him into the show. You can see his name right now, but we are continuing to dive into the intricacies of growing a community in your podcast or on your live video show and things like that. So that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. Again, I know that was a big topic last week for us too. So wanted to continue on that and bring in a friend of mine that's been doing this very, very successfully for many, many years in crafting a community around his podcast. So I have with me longtime friend Danny Pena, who is a renowned founder and host of the popular GamerTag Radio show. He's a former on-air host for like G4 TV. He's done stuff. He's done a lot of stuff with video game publishers as kind of like an advisor and things like that. And he's also kind of similar to me. We're both in the Podcast Hall of Fame.
Yes.
You know, Danny was inducted back in 2015. I was inducted in 2017. And next week, the Podcast Hall of Fame comes back again. So we have a whole nother round of 8 Hall of Famers getting inducted into the Hall of Fame at Podfest down in Orlando on January 26th. It's going to be streamed live as well. So you'll be able to see it at the Libsyn YouTube channel. So you'll be able to go to just youtube.com/@Libsyn, and you'll be able to watch the full stream. It's already scheduled there. So if you wanted to just go there and schedule, and you can see some terrific new inductees, like Mr. Adam Carolla is one of them. So if you haven't heard of Adam before, which is a little hard to understand, I think Adam Carolla is a pretty well-known guy. So Danny, thanks for joining me on the show. It's great to have you here.
Thank you for an invitation. It's been a while, Rob. We haven't done this in a very long time. So,
yeah, I think the last time we did something together was in Los Angeles. I think we did a panel together.
Yeah. Wasn't it Los Angeles? I think it was.
I was out in kind of Burbank area. Is where
that was actually last year.
It's pretty close to where you reside now. So
very close to it.
Right. So it actually worked out really well. So I flew all the way out there from the East Coast to go to this podcasting conference. This is a small event, but it was still a lot of fun. It's always great to go to podcasting conferences, and I get to do that next week, Danny. So that's the other thing, doing a lot of stuff down there too. And I wanted to also mention this show as a growing and vibrant community around it that really has an interest in podcasting. And also, we give away stuff on this show, Danny. So
that's awesome.
Just
nothing wrong with free stuff.
Right, exactly. So StreamYard, since this is a StreamYard show, they are actually giving me the opportunity to give away some merch. So this is Puddles.
You got the mug. You got the mug too. Hey, look, I'm one of those that wake up in the morning.
Right.
Coffee.
Yeah, I'm not going to show you that end of the duck, but that's okay. I did that by accident. So,
it's cool. It's cool.
The duck is blushing now. So anyway, and a mug, and that's always great for this time of the year. So at the end of the show, just stick around, and also during the show, go into the comments wherever you're listening to this, and enter, as the ticker below is telling you, enter hashtag the yard, and that will get you added to the giveaway at the end, and we'll pull that giveaway string, and the winner will be rewarded, Danny. So
awesome. Well, good luck to everyone that's watching.
Thank you. And so anyway, well, let's kind of get into it. I know that the comments are already starting to flow in, and I'm already getting behind. So
I love doing this and seeing the comments and actually, I would love to see like where people are watching this from. Is it
Yeah,
around
no,
the
no, it's
world?
always
Hey,
great to
post
hear
it.
it.
Yeah, post it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
So
excited.
we're all cold right now, so everybody's very much. I know there's snow on the ground, or I should say now it's ice. So I know that this is the deep dark experience. Now there may be some people watching this, Danny, and you may be one of them that has had warm weather the last couple.
Yeah, well, here in Los Angeles
Right.
is 64 degrees, but at night it goes to like 39, low 40s. So it's not that. It's okay. It's
That kind of reminds you a little bit about being on the East Coast, right?
yeah. I call it a hoodie weather. Just wear a little hoodie and that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So the comments are flowing in, and thank you so much for doing that. What's up? Well, we're going to make what's up. So that's the motto of this show. So
Definitely.
So Danny brings as they say, the receipts. He's got like, what was it, 20 years now of experience doing this, Danny?
Yeah. So internet radio, because this is like pre-podcast days, it's going to be, I believe, 22 years at the end of this month.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
Great. Well, I'm the same way. I can go there.
Yeah, because we're like the same, around the same
24
time.
years.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is that starts to date us a little too much, Danny. So I like to keep.
I mean, look.
Smaller.
I'm very proud of the content that I worked back in the days, because it was
right.
I feel like we were ahead. We were like looking at the future, like, oh, the internet is great. This is cool. Yeah. I remember using Live 365 back in the days, real audio, that stuff.
Yep. No,
and then, and then, I launched my podcast February 25th, 2005. So it's going to be 19 years with the current show that I have now. And wow, that's crazy. Next year is going to be 20. Oof, that's going to be wild.
Looks like we had Danny pause.
I could hear you.
Unless I'm sure we'll get him back. But
oh, really? I could hear you.
Oh, yeah. I just did a full screen on you. I don't know.
Yeah, it looked like it was still going on. Yeah,
right. Yeah. But anyway, so we have a listener that's asking us, what's your favorite color? I think you can probably tell what my favorite color is, but
green. Yeah.
What's yours, Danny?
Well, for me, you don't see my color in the back. For me, I like I really like baby blue for some reason.
Baby blue, okay.
Baby blue, yeah. I like the baby blue.
Do you happen to have a baby boy by chance?
No, I don't. No.
You don't?
Okay.
No,
I'm a
it's
girl.
just kind of a personal preference, right?
Yeah, I just loved it since I was a kid. Loved it. Yeah, but I love green too, man. Green is good. Yeah. I have a couple green stuff in the back.
Yeah, you do, and I know you. You always have that colored lights like I have too. Where I can change my background and do all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, and if you see also behind me, I have like all my badges that I collected of all the events I attended since 2001 till now. So I have like a lot. So like E3 doesn't exist anymore, but I have like everything, even private events. I have a couple of like podcast events too in there.
Yeah, I remember the old days of E3. That was usually just a huge event for Sony, PlayStation, and just to give everybody some background, Danny and I actually met when I was working for Microsoft. So I was working on the Zune Xbox team, and that's kind of where we met many years ago.
yes, and the wild thing now, because gaming events has been evolving a lot throughout the years. So there's a lot of publishers now that do a lot of direct videos straight from like Twitch or YouTube, pre-recorded. Before it was like you had to attend the events in person, and also with E3 it doesn't exist now, but there's another event called Summer Game Fest that we go, but that one is like invite only. Not anybody could just show up there, so things has been changing with gaming and how people have been creating content from like the podcast and video side. It's especially in the video game industry. So what I've been doing now for like the past few years has been still continue with our regular conversation of stuff that's been happening in the industry, but I just love also having one-on-one conversation with developers or execs from like different studios or publishers. So like our 1000 episode back in 2020 we interviewed, and this was like an exclusive thing for us. We interviewed the president of Xbox at that time. Now he's no longer president. He's the higher up now. But we were like the first outlet to interview him.
A little bit of bandwidth struggles tonight. So.
Oh really? Oh wow. From
my
side,
end, probably it's probably on my end. But anyway, I don't know if anybody's seeing it. But anyway,
it's all good. Yeah, but yeah. So like I was saying, I interviewed Phil Spencer, and we were like the first ones to talk to him about the next console that was coming out before anybody else, before all the major media outlets. And that interview went all over the place, from like the gaming sites, from like the non-gaming sites. Everybody was talking about it, So, but that's the thing that I'm trying to do like new things and stuff, So,
well, and that's a good topic that kind of maybe gets us into a little bit of this conversation about community. And I think when you started your podcast, and you were really focused mostly, and I think mostly you still are on the audio side, right?
Yeah, I do video.
You've done a lot of video too, right?
Yeah. I've done a lot of video for not only for me, but for like TV. I've done stuff for like Telemundo because I'm bilingual, so they wanted somebody to cover gaming in Spanish. So I've done that in the past, and came out great, man. I had an opportunity to interview Keanu Reeves for one of the games I was in.
Yeah, I saw that. That was awesome.
Yeah. Also, Giancarlo Esposito, he's in a lot of movies. Actually, he's in Mandalorian too. But he was in a game called Far Cry 6. So that was like a lot of fun. He was like the villain in that game. So, but yeah, stuff like that I've been working on. And yeah, we definitely could talk about community. And also, I know a lot of people are going to bring up like money. How's that been going? Happening with us, especially because we've been doing this for a long time. How sponsorship has been working for us, and also working with our community,
going up and down probably a little bit, right?
Yeah, we could talk about that definitely later on.
Sure. So that I pulled up, as you can see, I pulled up your website, GamerTag Radio, and you have a team around you with your podcast, and so how does that team, you think, play into the dynamics of one, building community, and also building personality into the program that thus can facilitate a greater possibility of building community?
Yeah, I actually met Peter and Paris. I met them part of the Xbox community. We would play a lot of Xbox games online. So with Pete, his wife used to work with me at Discovery Channel back in the days, and then I had a Guitar Hero early before it came out, and I invited him and his wife to come to my house, and we got to play a lot of these games, and also that. And I was like, man, I think he was actually pushing, like, man, I would love to help you out. I would like to be part of the show. And that took a while, but I tested him out. I sent him to an event randomly as a surprise to see if he's going to be good at it. And he came back and recorded some great content at the event. So I was like, all right, cool. And with Paris, he actually found out about us. And this is like the early days of like before social media. It was message boards back then. So he saw one conversation about my podcast, GamerTag Radio, at that time in 2005, and ever since then we just became good friends. He launched a podcast, and then he stopped for a while. He took like a couple years of a break, and then he wanted to record again, and we got him in to be part of GamerTag Radio. We've been recording ever since, all three of us. So, but the good thing about us is like we don't agree at all. So we always have. We always have debates. We, there's listeners that might agree with me, or they might agree with them, that type of thing. So that's the thing that I love about what we do. And we're not local. We all lived in different areas. I used to live in Miami. Paris was in Temecula, which is like between LA and San Diego. And Pete used to live in Miami, but now he lives in Switzerland. So we all record Sunday morning live on Twitch. But we will do like live Q&A with our fans, either through email, voicemail, or through the chat, and we just record and post it online, and it's been great. But I love to interact with our listeners, like how you're doing it now with everybody in the chat and everything like that. So we've been doing that a lot lately. And one of the things too about that helped us on the show too, because I know we do audio and also video, Not only me, but Paris, my co-host, he also done stuff with Xbox. So a couple years ago, I think it was in 2021, he hosted their showcase, which happens every year during the E3 time, right? And he was the host. He's never done that before, and millions of people got to watch it. And it was because of the podcast that made him feel more comfortable to start hosting events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool to see that, you know. So shout out to Paris and my co-host Pete.
So how are you guys currently using Twitch with your show? Are you guys doing full episodes over there? Are you doing segments or what's happening?
No, so with Twitch, we usually record live. Once in a while, if we get like a game early and we're allowed to stream it and show our fans, we'll play the game, and people will start asking questions like, "Hey, tell us how it is with the game, this and this and that." But we usually record an hour on the podcast and then like 30 minutes just extra content just for people that are watching it live. But for me, Twitch is more of a avenue for us to just more interact with our listeners live, because we get the majority of listeners, we get it through our podcast. And and yeah, sometimes Twitch will feature us like on the front page, so we'll get like 7,000 to 10,000 people watching live, but that's like once in a while. I think that happened back in October. I had Spider-Man 2 early, and I did a live stream, and they featured me on the front page, and that was pretty cool experience right there. Yeah.
So how did you watching? So how did you? It doesn't sound like you were necessarily tremendously deliberate on the selection of your co-hosts, right? Or did it just fall together and everything just aligned itself? What was that kind of process for you of integrating co-hosts into what you're doing, and how that probably evolved and got more magical over time as you guys got to know each other more, right? I would imagine.
Yeah, you know what? I think it is important to get to know your co-hosts before you get them to be part of it. Because for me, I just got to hang out a lot with them. We would travel a lot. I was seeing them at events and stuff like that, and either locally or outside of my area. And I got to know them, and I feel like that helped me and helped them also for us to connect even more. Like when you listen to the show, you could tell like, okay, the vibe is different than getting somebody you've never met, and it's like, you just get them in there and start recording. So I think the content will get even better because of that, because having that vibe that you guys have, between each other, and either debates and stuff like that. Like they know when I'm about to stop. Like we get like, usually when people record, there's always like editings and stuff like that. Like, I'm gonna make it better. For us, no, because it's
conversations. But it is,
it's
right?
conversations. Yeah. And we like barely make any mistakes. and it's easy for me to just put up the episode. I'll edit a couple of things I add, like music and stuff like that. But actually editing the conversations, nah, at all. Yeah. It's been easy for me as an editor to edit the podcast because of the vibe that we have with each other. It helps out a lot.
Yeah, I think that mixture of co-hosts. I mean, a lot of podcasts, as you know, don't do co-hosts. They're like solo casts, and I do think to some degree, like when I started this show, this show could have easily been a solo cast, and I know it's a kind of a popular format to some degree on YouTube and some of these platforms, is where you just basically create a show that's very focused on a particular topic, and you just deliver on that topic that has a lot of value, and you're able to make cover art that's kind of like plugs that specific topic, and people know what they're getting, right? Where content like I've done and you've done in the past is a little bit more like a variety show, right? Where you've got all sorts of different potential topics. You've got different voices in the program that have a dynamic amongst them. And that's one of the reasons that this show has the tagline "and friends," because what I was trying to do was create almost like a co-host situation, but it was almost like a temporary co-host situation.
Sure.
It would be people that I know, people that I have passion about, and have have had a lot of experience with, I would bring on the show, and we would be able to have a conversation. And that's a little bit of a difference than doing like a regular interview show, which is a little different. Did you consider doing an interview show when you started, or?
Yeah, at the beginning, it was more. Well, I always love having conversations. And actually, when I do interviews, I usually call it conversations because when I have somebody on a show, like a guest, I want them to feel comfortable and for them to open up to talk about things that, because of our conversation, they'll talk about it. Like, for example, I had Reggie Fils-Aimé. He used to be the president of Nintendo. He's Haitian American, first black American to be a president of a gaming company, and that's Nintendo of America, right? So it took me 10 years to get him on the show. So we've been interacting a lot online. I'll see him at events and stuff like that. And then he retired, and I invited him to be part of the show for our anniversary special. And we were talking about the industry, and then I wanted to learn more about how was it growing up in New York City, before getting into the industry, as a kid and all that stuff. And yeah, he started talking about like personal stuff, like, oh yeah, my brother and I, like, we were walking in New York City, we got robbed, and I'm like, nobody has ever heard that coming from him, So like that's what I'm saying, like just having those interesting conversations beyond just the business and gaming, I think it helps, because then you see the human side of people that been working on products, have been doing this for a long time, and I feel like it is important to also learn the history of like how people started before they got into the industry, so that's something that's been really helping me, having those great conversations. And the thing is too, it gets picked up by a lot of the media because they open up, and the conversation just flow pretty good, and it doesn't feel forced. Or I've never done clickbait content, never, and I've been successful to get the word out every time I create content, so that's been very, very good, not only to me but also for the crew.
Yeah, see, Melanie wrote, hello from Sydney, Australia.
Ooh, wow.
Thank you.
Hello.
That somebody tuned in. Was it Friday at 11 a.m. there, and it's 26 degrees Celsius. That's a decent
awesome
little temperature there. So
yeah. Well, good
it's
morning
summer down there. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Good morning from the future.
Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing your warmth with us, because we all need it out here. So, but yeah, I think that there's a lot of comments coming in. I appreciate that. Looks like people are definitely cold here
they're very cold, I see.
in the North America. I mean, if you're in North America right now, you're probably covered in snow. But but yeah, I think I think the topics of building a vibrant community, and I mean a lot of the folks that tune into the show are, a lot of them have their own show, or they're thinking about starting one. And I think that a lot of the topics that I try and cover on this show are, is helping people understand how to get started, like how to start building a community. And I started last week kind of showing some examples where I was trying to get, audience onto the show and much more connected to the show. I didn't have a guest like yourself on the show last week. So we were doing this where I was doing that solo type of format to some degree, but I did bring on a audience member as a guest. So that was a little bit of a different model. But as you started to build your community around your GamerTag Radio, what were the key things that you started to do with your community that created that loyalty and that connection and that always there for you?
A couple of things. One, I've always been myself. I've never changed my character or anything like that just because it's like, oh, it's online, let me just be somebody else. I've never done that. Another thing too, because I started podcasting so early, I had to find my community in my local area. So when there was like a launch event for a game at midnight, I would go to like the stores just show up and look for my community and just talk to them, pass out flyers and stuff like that. And I'll tell them, hey, listen to our show using your PC or your Mac, but I will never mention the word podcast at that time, because then people will think, oh, I need an iPod for me to listen to your show. So I always will call it, just for them to understand, an internet radio. Go listen, this and that. But if you're a hardcore fan of podcasting back then yeah, of course I'll mention that to you. But yeah, that helped me a lot, just to connect with people. And what I did too, I also wanted them to be part of the show, so I would record interviews while they were in line, because I knew they were gonna show it to like the friends. Hey, somebody recorded, I was on the show, talk about so and so game. So that automatically, I knew I was gonna get free promotion with that too, man. So but I feel like it is important to not only do that, but also, even if you have one listener and they hit you up, either video comment, email, voice, anything, it is important for you to try at least to engage with that person, so they could also feel that it was worth it. Make them feel like they're also part of the show. I always been doing this since day one, all the time. And when I will travel and go to different cities, I will mention on the show, and I'll do like little meetups, even if it's like 4 or 5 people. I'll invite them, take them to like a bar or restaurant. We'll eat, drink, just talk, and I would like to just have conversation with them. And it helped me to connect more with my community, and it's been very, very helpful. So years ago, I got invited to a Call of Duty event. It was like a esports tournament type thing, and it was in Columbus, Ohio. I've never been to Columbus ever. So I talked about it on the show, and I had like a couple people that were there, like, oh, Danny, we'd love to meet with you. So what I did, I surprised them. I talked to my contacts at Activision, and I was like, hey, is it possible to get free tickets, like a VIP experience for my listeners? I would like to invite them, not only to check out like the tournament, but also for them to meet the players behind backstage. They get to see the production, how everything works out. And then at the end of the event, I would like to interview them to just get the experience. Like, how was it for them attending an event like this for the first time? And Activision were like, all right, Danny, they gave me like 6-7 tickets. And I surprised them, took them to the event, walked around. They met with all the teams, all the people that were part of the tournament, and they're never going to forget that experience, because again, they feel like they were part of it.
Right? Totally.
So I think it is important to do that. I'm not saying to do exactly like that, but try to do something that is going to make them feel like they're also part of your community.
Right. Yeah. Did you ever do any of those events and bring a microphone with you and kind of get comments or thoughts from the community that came to your meetup or your
Oh,
group?
yes. Yeah. Some of them, and some of them I don't. Some of them because I just want to. I don't want to feel like make them feel like, oh, this is just for content. Like I think there is a time and place for that, but there's sometimes I just want to talk to them and for them. What I'll do is I'll take pictures, and for them to take pictures, and if they want to share it, talk about it, because I think it is important to show that to people. Like, hey, I don't see my community as just a number. I see them as like they're part of our tribe, and they're the first ones that are going to be talking about our show, promoting it, engage with us, sending us voicemails, emails. And we'll do a lot of also giveaways. Like when we get like free games, we'll give them out. We also done like local parties in Miami. So the last event that we did, we had like 1,000+ people. We did it during Super Bowl weekend, and that was a wild, crazy story there. But we had so much stuff to give away that we rented a U-Haul truck, took them to the club. We had tournaments, people show up, and a lot of them travel from around the U.S. and some even internationally, because they also wanted to meet with me and the team and the crew at that time. So that was really cool. And it was important for me to also show that to companies, because a lot of people at that time weren't doing that. They weren't doing like events like that, interacting with like their listeners and stuff like that. So, and it was awesome to see also the media, local media, talking about us and putting us like the top party of Super Bowl weekend in Florida and everything like that. That was awesome. Really.
Yeah, and then also, if you're doing any live events too, I know that you've done some live shows, right, on stage at some events, and that
Yeah.
engages audience too, right?
Yep. Yeah, I've done a lot of hosting gigs actually. I've done not only for podcasts, but I've done also like speaking engagements, keynotes for not only from the gaming side, but also podcasts. I know we've done stuff with like Podcast Movement, Podfest, stuff like that. Because here's the thing, Rob, like I got into the point in my life that, I can't just depend on just the podcast and just sponsorships and stuff like that. I
Mhm,
feel like we all have to evolve and try to do new things where one, nobody else is doing.
mhm.
Two, it's gonna stand out. And also how can you get your community involved or whoever let's say a company your community can't attend, but let's say the company also want them to be part of the conversation or whatever topic it is. Sometimes a lot of people that I know from the industry are just focusing on just the content and podcasting. That's it. And I think it's gotten to the point that we have to like do new things. The industry has been changing. Ads been changing a lot throughout the years. There was a time that was a lot really, really good with money. But now it's gotten to the point where what happened if there's no ads? There's other stuff that you could do
You gotta
because of your tribe, of your community. You could show that the companies
you gotta
and
diversify your
diversify. Yep.
your your potential revenue streams,
Hmm.
and it does put a lot of pressure on content creators to wear a lot of hats,
Hmm.
to be able to do these, selling merchandise, and then having subscriptions for some content, and
Hmm.
publishing these shorts, and then publishing the longer form content, and then being at events, and it's a lot of stuff to take on. It's not an easy game now, and when the economy is a little bit down and you want to monetize I think a lot of content creators are being pushed right now,
Hmm.
to keep up and to do all the things they need to do to, keep things going. And I'm sure you're going through that too, because you're doing consulting work and things like that in addition to
Hmm.
your content. The
Yeah,
same
and
thing with me.
yeah, and here's the wild part. Like, the past 3 years has been the best in my career, the best for me because now I'm doing stuff beyond podcasts. So the podcast to me is an avenue where it will help me to become a better host, better interviewer. It
Hmm.
helped me to connect with a lot of companies. It helps me also to promote myself and my team.
Hmm.
But now I've been doing like stuff on Twitter, YouTube. Like I said, done a lot of speaking engagement stuff also for TV.
Hmm.
So I've been trying to do all types of stuff, man. And for someone that's been doing this for so long, like I still feel excited about creating new things, creating content. Like I'm still excited about it. I've never gotten bored so far. And that's the thing that for those who are watching, the day that you're just bored of doing it, don't do it. Because the thing is,
Yeah.
you don't want to send that type of vibe to your listeners. Like
Yeah.
if you're not in the mood, don't record. Honestly, like I feel sometimes force themselves to record, and you're sending that to your community, and people listen to that. They're gonna go away. They're gonna find somebody else that has pretty good vibes, great conversation. Because
Yeah.
sometimes people just want to relax. They just want to listen to a show. Maybe they have a long drive. They don't want to be bored out of their minds. Listening to something that is not gonna connect with them. So.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a challenge. I mean, because I agree with you. I mean,
Mhm.
how do you keep that enthusiasm, as a host and a content creator? People do burn out in this medium. I mean, you've been doing it for a long time, so
Mm.
you've figured out a way to keep it, core to your passions, and keep it core to keeping it fun and keeping it exciting too. So, what do you think the magic of that is, and of not getting in a situation where you feel like you're either burning out or you're
Mhm.
losing your energy?
I think it is important to balance your life and take a break if you need to.
Mhm,
It doesn't have to be podcasting, creating content 24/7. and also surround yourself with people that also have like the same goals. Like they're very positive people. They're gonna push you to do things like better things in life. Like my co-host, we've been through it all. Like there was a time that we were going through personal stuff, and we were there for each other, and I think that helped me personally, to not only become a better person, but also to help me create better content. And I'll share that to to our community. And also my wife, she's also a content creator. She's been doing stuff for a long time when it comes to like marketing. She worked with the gaming companies and stuff like that too, PR agencies and everything. So she also been pushing me to do things, man. So like I just also love recording with her too. Like we have these amazing conversations. People are like, man, you guys gotta do something on your own. Man. You guys have like an amazing conversation that people will love to hear you guys talk about. And we're like, we should do something maybe one day. We'll see. But again, it all depends on you, man. For me, is surround myself with good people, and also take a break if you need to, man. Like, we just had a kid recently, a couple months ago, and I took 2 months off, 2+ months off. But what I did, I recorded a lot of content at the end of the year, a lot, just to have it there, and I scheduled it, and it was releasing every week until the mid-December. And I came back in the second week of January. We came back, and now we're like our 19th year creating content on GamerTag Radio. Yeah, but it's been great, man.
Yeah,
it's been great.
So we've been getting a bunch of questions about StreamYard here, and
Sure.
they're interesting. And it looks like there's some technical issues with trying to post comments from LinkedIn that are
really?
that may not be showing up in the platform here. So I'm not sure that I know the answer to that for everyone. I guess my answer would be, if you're watching in LinkedIn and you want to comment, you probably should pop over to like YouTube or one of the platforms that people are being successful in posting comments to, and they'll make it through, and we can post it here. So not all the stuff works perfectly all the time, and platforms are constantly changing what they're doing. So sometimes things don't always work. I know, Danny, you've been through a lot of technological stuff over the years, I'm sure, and that's probably consistent with what you've experienced too. Is not everything works all the time.
Yeah, I mean, the worst one, not pressing record and having like 2-hour conversation. That happened.
I hate it when that happens.
that was oh my god. But then telling the person, oh my god, I forgot to record.
Yeah.
That happened to pass. But yeah, technical issues, that happens. I mean, sometimes the show must go on, man. Like, just record it and release it whenever you get the chance, or like you said, there's other places where you could watch it too. So that's the beauty, that now it's so much easier now to share your content in so many different places. Like the technology that we have now is so much easier than what we had back in the days.
Yeah, and Rocky as a comment here says, why don't we use our phones to share the screen, or do a show? And I do think there is more people doing that kind of stuff, using their iPhones or their Android phones to produce content now more than ever. The days of using a laptop or a desktop are still good to do. It depends on your setup and the kind of content that you're creating, and I think it's definitely an evolution that's happening. I know StreamYard has a guest app now. I'm sure they're going to keep building on top of that to give it capability to actually create a full show in the app eventually. Right now, it only works with guest callers. So like Danny, you could have called in through the mobile app if you wanted to do this show from your car or something.
That's cool. Can we get some callers now? No.
Right. So, cool. I mean, it's a great question, and it does kind of speak to the changing landscape of what the content creators are having to face out there and cope with, and realize that, they don't have to do it in like a studio like I have here. They can do it from anywhere. Now, the question is whether you should do it from anywhere is another thing. And I'm sure you played around with remotes and doing things
Hmm.
in odd places, because I
Oh
know I
yeah.
have.
Let me tell the oddest place that I recorded content one time was during the Jaws ride at Universal Studios in
Oh,
Orlando. The reason is I was there with a friend of mine. We were just talking, and we were just talking about games. And wow, during the ride, but we were like all the way in the back. So, hey, it's content, man. We recorded. It was fun.
yeah.
It came out great.
Yeah, exactly. And looks like Have Cheetah Will View.
Hmm.
That's a cool name. I like that. Uh, the comment is hard to grow a community when YouTube is attacking our views. Um,
Hmm.
I, I I guess that may be happening, right? It's hard to tell if you're being, shadow banned or you're being limited in your reach. It's these algorithms that are out there that we don't always know when our content's being suppressed or not given exposure. And I don't know, do you have any thoughts on that, Danny?
Yeah, honestly, don't look at the view counts, man.
Don't look
Just
at the
honestly, no, I'm dead
yeah,
serious because I
yeah,
think that will hurt your content because people are like, oh, well, that's not that many people watching. Or look, even if it's just one person, man, one person or 100 people, that's somebody that's actually consuming
yeah.
your
That's
content,
actually
you
I
know?
agree with you, Danny. I think that's a great way to look at it, because then, I
Mm-hmm,
mean, I think this medium is really about speaking to one person anyway.
mm-hmm,
And if you do content as a podcast, I think that's the mindset you have to go into it with, is that you're speaking to one person. And if you only have one person, that one person has dedicated time out of their lives to
mm-hmm.
listen to what you have to say. And you kind of have to think about it that way. It's like meeting someone at Starbucks or whatever. You
Yeah.
pay attention and you focus on
Mm-hmm.
them. Why can't you
Yeah.
do that in your podcast?
Here's the thing. Like I know creators that they stream. They used to stream
Hmm.
back then. They only had like one view for like a year, right? Just one view every time they stream,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Or every time they have a podcast, it's just like one download, two downloads here, right? And it became big later because you you still creating content, you're getting better with your content, but there's gonna be one person that discover your show, your video, your content, right? And they're gonna share with somebody else, and then somebody else, and then somebody, and it just blows up. And that happens, and it was
Mhm.
because of your content. It's not because of your view count.
Right.
People don't search like, well, let me search for the person that has the most views so I can watch their content. No, they're looking for content because of the stuff that you put out there. It could be conversations, it could be whatever it is. That's what people are searching for. So make it easier for them to find your content, and then it's gonna go out there even more and more. Look, I have stuff still to this day that on YouTube it might have like 100 views, but then on
Right.
a podcast is thousands and thousands of downloads. But then on Twitter it's like a different number, really really high too. Like
Yeah. It's all over the map.
it
Yeah.
it, it that to me it's okay. Like just because you have low views somewhere else, like continue doing your thing. And I think eventually somebody's gonna discover you that you're gonna blow up. Why not
Yeah.
experiment other places
Keep
too?
getting better.
TikTok and yeah.
Keep getting better, push the envelope on your topics and your content, and
Hmm.
get deeper into your community, and try and better understand what your community wants. And I
Yep.
know, it's what one thing too that's an interesting kind of dynamic to this show is I go into an episode with a topic or a theme or whatever, but the
Hmm.
community sometimes doesn't follow along with that. So
Yeah.
they have their own kind of questions or their own challenges, because I am speaking to creators, right? It's just
Hmm.
like with this comment here with the hip hop history. Say if I create a video stream with you, and I'm sure they're referring to StreamYard, and pay for a month, then cancel my services a month later. Who owns the video clip and stream? Does the video default to StreamYard stamped? And I would say no. You own that stuff. If you did a live stream and you shipped it out to your accounts on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, those are in your account. they are not in StreamYard, and StreamYard does not own your content or anything. Now, granted, if you're using the free plan, it will probably have that little duck logo on it. So that's the part you have to think about. But really, you own that, and once you've recorded or done a live stream, you can download that and load it onto your own computer. So you actually own that content. You have possession of it. And once that account at StreamYard goes away, I'm sure they're just going to get rid of all that content. It's not like StreamYard has a listening platform. It's not like their YouTube. So that's not how how this works. This is just a tool to create content. And then once it goes out, it's up to you on what you want to do with it. So I hope that answers that question.
Definitely.
So yeah, so Danny, on that theme, how do you think about platforms that you're working with, and do you back up all your episodes locally and want to maintain control of all that as much as you can?
Oh yeah, I have all my recordings, even from like the early days of like 2000s. Yeah. So I still have all my stuff. But yeah, like right now, you know, we started our show on Libsyn. I still have all my stuff there, and we also done stuff because we partner with CBS. This is when they had like a podcast network, Play.it. We did some stuff, so I archive all those episodes, and now we're with Audio Boom, and we have our content there. So but locally I have all my stuff saved in a hard drive just in case, God forbid, you know. But yeah, I think it is important just to keep your stuff. You can't just depend on whatever platform you're using, because what happened one day, so you know, something happened, your content gets erased, then what? You know, so even on YouTube, I'm not going to depend on having all my stuff on YouTube. I like to record as much as I can, and save it. Have a little hard drive as a backup, just in case. Just have it there, you know. So, I still have all my episodes that I recorded from a long, long time ago. Like next year, for example, is the 20th anniversary of the original Xbox 360.
Oh,
so
that's true.
I remember going to the store with my brother. We did like midnight launch. I had somebody else at an event here in LA that was also part of GTR. I still have the original recording of that, you know. So I have that. I have the original recording in 2001 when I went to Times Square for the launch of the original Xbox, and I got to meet Bill Gates and all that. So like I still have all that content, you know. So and it's good. You know what I usually do too? I like to bring those episodes back and do commentary now, and you know, explain to people what happened back in those days. Like you'll hear listeners at that time that I interviewed, that I met them at the event, having conversations like, hey, what you think of this console coming out now in 2001 or whatever? And they were like, oh man, the graphics is so amazing, I've never seen anything like this, wow. And then fast forward to 2005, people talking about like, yeah man, HD, I don't have an HD TV, but like it's like, so it's good to release that, and we'll call it like a retro episode. So people can listen to it and they'll be like, oh my god, because remember, there's a lot of people that they probably were too young at that time to listen, and now when they're older, they're like, oh my god, people were talking about this back then, you know. So again, trying to do something new to release on the show and stuff, and new way to create content and have those conversations about it, you know. So.
Well, and Have Cheetah's got another comment on StreamYard, and I would say this is the case pretty much for any online content creation platform, is that there's always going to be, I shouldn't say always, but sometimes there'll be glitches in live streams. Things don't always, you know, the bandwidth. There's lots of kind of points of, I don't know, failure is the right way to say it, but points of disruption that can happen in the internet, in the network, doing anything live like this. So glitches are not unusual when it comes to doing anything live. But you know, sometimes you're lucky and you don't get any glitches. Like tonight, I think we had a couple little glitches, but it all came back and everything was great. But that's part of the game of live, is that you you're willing to take some of those risks. That's why a lot of people play it safe by recording.
Yeah, yeah. And also another advice I will mention this to people, and it's something that I had to learn on my own, is you have to evolve. You can't just be doing the same type of thing. Like I was doing audio podcasts for a long, long time. I didn't have the equipment to do video
Yeah.
professionally, like how it is now. Like I didn't have the equipment, but one day we went to an event, and when we went to the event, it was for this game called Titanfall,
Uh-huh.
for a game for Xbox. And we went to the event, and when we got there, we were the only podcasters. Everybody was YouTubers, Twitch streamers. And I looked at my co-host Paris, and I was like, "Bro, like we're dinosaurs, man. We gotta step it up. We gotta do something new." And
Yeah.
plus, talking to a lot of the gaming companies, PR, marketing, like, Danny, you guys gotta do video, like video.
Yeah, that's the hot thing
And
now, right?
and let me tell you, ever since we made that change to also start doing video, opportunity
Just
been
open up, right?
opened up even more. My co-host
Yep.
hosted shows for Xbox, for me, TV. I did TV commercial, like a bunch of stuff, maybe because they saw our talent not only through voice but also on
On
video,
stage
on
or on
stage.
video, right?
Yeah, yep, and
Yeah.
it helped me to get better. Let me tell you, I became a better host, a better speaker because of my podcast.
Yeah,
You know,
and
so.
that, point right there really confirms what, the DizPod, comment that's up on the screen says, "We started doing our podcast recorded, and 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 it was going fine, doing it one take, and, they decided to do it live, and it's been so much fun and a
Mhm,
great way to interact with viewers, just like what we're doing with this show, and
mhm,
it's a whole nother, but, dynamic, but it does make you a better content creator, I think. More think on your feet. Like I have an outline, and I say this almost in every episode, but I almost never follow
mhm.
it.
Hey, you know what? Even on
Yeah,
stage, look, it's okay. You make mistakes, man. It's okay.
it is
Nobody's
okay.
perfect.
I
You
mean,
know,
don't make them catastrophic mistakes,
no,
but
no, of
yeah,
course not.
right.
I mean, like I remember on stage. I think this was like at Podfest. I think it was, or was it Podcast Mode? I can't remember. But I was on stage, and I'm there, keynote showing my presentation, and something happened. I messed up,
Yeah,
and right there on the spot, making fun of it. So I started making fun of it. People laughing. Okay, let's go. And everybody forgot about the mistake because
yeah,
I had to on the spot. I had to change
yeah,
the conversation so people could forget that. So that happens.
yeah.
That
Don't
happens.
notice this.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
It's a
But
little
yeah,
sleight of hand.
yeah.
Yeah,
I also done speaking engagements for gaming companies where it's not open to the public. It's just only for like their employees, and they'll invite
yeah,
me, and they want to know like my journey, how I started,
yeah.
how I got into the industry. And I will talk to them, and look, these people that I'm talking about, execs, developers, producers, that they've never done podcasts. They just very curious about to hear my story. And I've done presentations like that. And to me, I'll probably feel like I make a mistake, but for them, they're like, wow, that was like the best presentation out of all the guests that's been here
Oh,
presenting. Yeah. And 'cause I think sometimes as a content creator, we feel like I think we're way too picky to release our content. Like there's people that I know, when they
it's
started,
gotta be perfect,
it
you
has to
gotta
be perfect. I have
you
to
can't
have the
have any
best mic.
breaths in your audio either,
No,
sorry.
it's okay. It's okay. Release it, because look,
Let it go.
if I listen to my first episode from back then and now, oh my god, totally different. The way I speak is different. The mic, the
Yep,
quality, everything is different. I feel like it is important when you release an episode, go back and listen to it, or even
yep,
months later, go back and listen to it, just so you can see the difference, how much better you've been getting. And not only that, but also read the comments from the community, what they're saying.
yep.
There's a difference between feedback and trolling. So I ignore the trolls. and I just read at the feedback, from people that, because sometimes people take it personal too, and then I get it. I've been through that in the past, but I got into the point in my life, I'm like, whatever, people are not going to agree. They're going to get mad and probably give you a 1-star review or whatever. And just got to
it's
keep it
going to
moving.
happen, right?
There's nothing you
got
can
to
do.
take with the good with the bad, right? It's like
Exactly.
anything else in the world. But
Exactly.
Hip Hop History posted a comment here. Who owns the AI rights to a stream, or is that such a thing? Well, I would say at this point, unless you're generating the content using AI, it's really not an issue. But increasingly, I think we are going to see people creating content utilizing AI more and more, and it is going to bring into factor here on rights and stuff. I mean, who's the character being portrayed? What's the voice? What's the who owns that? Who actually created it? If AI created the content that you're using, do you really own the content is the question. Just because you prompted it, I don't know that it's nailed down right now that you own it just because you prompted it.
Yeah, no, sorry, I have like a phone call.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah. So anyway, I hope that answered your question, but it's still not much of an issue yet. So anyway, is it possible to share iPod screen in StreamYard? I don't. iPod or iPad? Oh, iPad, right?
iPad.
Yeah, I would think you probably could.
Yeah, because I've done
iOS
that.
app.
I've done that with.
It's an iOS.
I've done that on Twitch where I will play a mobile game on my iPad, and I'm co-streaming. Like I'm streaming while playing the game on the iPad. So there is a way to do that. I know. If you look up online, you search online, they'll give you like tips how to do that. But you could definitely do that where you could send whatever you have on your screen to your stream on the iPad. I've done that before.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Yeah. So Hip Hop History has another question. Can you copyright a voice or a stream? Well, if you create the content, it is kind of naturally copyrighted. It's your creation, and you could assign a copyright, that C and copyright on a certain date or something like that. And, for all intents and purposes, it would be copyrighted to you as the creator. So every piece of content that you create, and that's where this question about AI comes in, right? Is if you're not creating it, sure, you're prompting AI to create something, but does that really pass copyright to you if the AI, the large language model, actually came up with all the content? So that's the risk that everybody's taking right now by doing that kind of content now. So yeah, I don't know if you've thought about that, Danny, or if you even
I really don't.
Played around with AI. Are you playing around with AI?
I've never really played around with that. I have, I think, tried out. I think it was like Chat GPT.
Yeah,
and just to see, what type of stuff is in there. But I've never used anything for like my content ever. Yeah,
you're still doing it the way it's always been done, right?
I'm using my voice and my
using your voice,
my voice and my likeness. Yes.
Yeah, I have played around with the voice cloning.
Oh yeah, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I haven't been real impressed with it right now, but if you pay a little extra money, I think some of the models do a pretty good job. So it's just how much training you give them. I think, I mean, some of them are trying to train on like, a paragraph of your voice or something like that. And I can't imagine they're going to be that good with your voice if it only gets a paragraph.
And honestly, and it doesn't have, how I call it, soul. Like it just sounds very robotic. I don't know. It sounds cool. It sounds great, but
are you going to build any kind of community around an AI generated?
I don't know. Now, if it's like AI conversations, with like your community, like that, it's okay. I just don't. I know there's certain things I'm kind of like worried about AI that it's not for me. Like especially in our industry, there's been a lot of talks of like, there's a lot of my friends that done voice acting for games, And now there's also studios that have done AI voice for the games instead of hiring people. So I feel like a lot of the voice actors are going to lose jobs because of that, because of the AI stuff, So I know there's games in the past that I played and I didn't know they had AI at all, and it sounds legit, so that's the scary part about the whole thing, but that's just me, different conversation.
So I think all of us are going to have to face that question of whether or not this AI generation stuff is going to add value.
This is a great question.
Okay, why don't you take it?
So Davison says, Danny Pena, lots of podcasts on YouTube, but never a live. Why? We've done live on Twitch.
Yeah,
we've done live on Twitch.
Yeah, I know you do live on Twitch.
Yeah, but sometimes, we get invited to go to events, right? And sometimes at those events, we're not allowed to stream live. We're like under embargo, under NDA. We can't say anything. So I'll take my equipment, record it, and then release it whenever I'm allowed to release it. So and sometimes we're like the only podcasters at that event, so I'm taking advantage of the content that we're getting out of it. And the worst thing you could do is go to an event and be like, all right, let me just go live, and companies are telling you not to do it. You're going to lose a lot of opportunities because you breaking embargoes. Like
you're breaking their rules.
Yeah, their rules. Yep.
In your partnership, right?
So yeah, we'll do live when we have like regular shows, but when there's like an event that it's going to be big, or if we have a game early, I'll play it, I'll record it, or sometime I'll stream live if I'm allowed to do that. So it all depends on the situation for us.
Yeah, I do the same thing with the new media show that I do. Like I'm going to be doing it live at Podfest down in Orlando next week. So that show, that's that logo that's up behind me up here. It's another live show that I do that I've been doing for like 12 years or something like that. I think, Danny, you've been a guest on that show, I think.
Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah. So
I gotta go back one of these days. Future.
So yeah, I also do that show live on stage at all the podcasting conferences, Podcast Movements, Podfest, and others too. I've done it at other conferences too, but it's always an interesting dynamic doing a show on stage. I mean, I do like the potential community connection and kind of making that in-person relationship build, because that audience that's in the real world sitting in chairs in front of you, the stage, can come up after the show and actually meet you in person. I try and live stream as many of them as I can. Sometimes it's a technical hurdle to get it done, but it's always fun to do, and I'm going to be doing it again. So I'm a glutton for punishment, I guess.
Yeah.
So the DizPod posted a comment here. Have Cheetah will view so fun. We're been using dynamic backgrounds, using video and more to keep it fresh. So yeah, I think it's important to make your visuals, interesting and colorful, like mine.
Oh yeah.
So I think it helps to keep things fresh and look modern and look up to date. Like I started the episodes playing a little like gaming music. I don't know if you heard that, Danny, or not, but it was kind of like a
I heard it. I heard it.
Gamer playing music.
Yeah.
And it's it's just a way to kind of keep fresh and keep current with what people are looking for out there these days with content. So
definitely,
this show can be a little bit, technical. It can be a little bit kind of dry. It's not like a comedy show or something like that, which I guess that's our challenge, Danny, is to make this show entertaining, right? So what is the factor in your mind around entertainment? Is that a big factor in how you think about creating your show?
Yeah, I think for us, we love to debate. We make fun of whatever we're talking about. People are laughing, they're like cracking up. We do that because we're just having fun. it's not like let's plan it out. It's just on the spot. It just happens. And then once I released the show, people were like, "Oh my god, man! I was cutting grass. And I had to stop because I was laughing so hard because it's just the things that you guys were talking about. It was hilarious. Like there's people still to this day talk about stuff that was like one of like the funniest things that ever happened years ago for us on the show.
Yeah.
Still to this day, there's people that will see me at an event, they'll talk about it, or our Discord channel, our community will talk about it. So like, man, that thing is so funny. Like I'm like, oh my god. But here's the thing: like we're just good at making jokes on the spot about each other. Me and my crew, and yeah, it just comes out funny, man. And so that to me is entertainment because people listen to it and they're not expecting it. They're like, oh my god, they start laughing, So and they love it. They love it.
Yeah, I always like these comments that the listeners or the viewers make to each other. So I don't believe this comment is made to us. It's being made to Lawrence. So it's an interesting, and that's always a sign that your community is kind of connecting with each other, and that's another reason why they might show up is because they could connect with a friend of theirs during the live show. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
actually,
that's that.
What were you saying? Sorry.
I would say, do you ever have that happen in your community where those audience relationships are just as powerful as the connection?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
In the show.
Yeah. Like actually, I was part of a documentary called Messengers documentary.
Yeah. Well, that's part of Podfest, right?
Part of Podfest, and there was people that came from out of town. They were not attending Podfest. They just wanted to see the movie, and they drove, came just to see either two things: was my presentation, and also they wanted to see the premiere of the movie. And they came and had a big community. I remember, and I feel bad whoever had to speak after me because here's what happened. I did my presentation, my keynote speaking, and then I was done. So I'm walking outside, and like a big, huge crowd of my community went out because they just wanted to talk to me and like meet with me for the first time, take pictures, and like that happens too. So yeah,
just kind of vacated the room, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. But it's not a bad thing. It was just they just wanted to talk to me. They wanted to take pictures and engage with me and everything. So yeah, definitely.
Well, you're an engaging person, so I can understand why they might want to do that.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's like Coining Around says consistency is the key to have gone live every Wednesday. I guess every Sunday. I guess you go live. Only missed one in 3 years of going live. Well, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. I mean,
yeah,
it works for you. I like to take breaks.
It's kind of okay to take a break during the Super Bowl if you want to watch Super Bowl or Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. That's probably okay to take the day off. What do you think, Danny?
I think it is important, man. You don't want to miss those special moments with your family, especially now with me. We just had a baby girl. I'm gonna try my best to spend time with her and my wife. Like there's a time to work and there's a time for yourself. I think when you just focus on just work, that's not healthy for you, man. Mentally, it's not healthy. So I've been doing this for a very long time, over 2 decades, and I like to take breaks. There's a time for me to work, but there's also the time for me to spend time with my family, friends.
You got to pace yourself a little bit too. This is being a content creator nowadays is kind of a marathon run. It's not not really a sprint.
And here's the thing, man, like at the end of the day, like your community is not going to leave just because you took a break. Your community, look.
Well, they want to take breaks too sometimes, right?
Of course. But look, there's stuff that happened to me, personal stuff that I had to take a break. Person for me, but my other co-hosts that continue with the show without me, and it was okay. I communicated that with my community. Every time there's something like like a big sponsor, we'll communicate with that or with our community, because I don't like to just hide stuff. It's good to, whenever you get the chance, tell your community, and they're gonna understand, and they're gonna support you no matter what. So, but imagine working 24/7 and you're missing out birthdays, you're missing out family visit, not because you just focus on work.
Yeah.
To me, family, it's important to me. I remember, a couple of years ago, I lost one of my cousins because of COVID, and it was difficult, for not only for me but also for my family, but I was happy that I got to see him at one of my cousin's baby showers, because we all the cousins got together and celebrated, new family member coming in, and those moments I will never forget.
Right.
So
Oh yeah.
it's good to balance it out, man. It is
Yeah.
important to balance it out.
It is. Don't forget out there that we have the drawing coming up here, the giveaway of puddles and the StreamYard mug. So get your entry in, hashtag the yard into the comment field, and that'll get it added to the drawing that I'm going to I'm going to push the button essentially on a web page, and that'll determine who the winner is. And what you'll need to do once you win is send me an email with your address and any comments that you have, and we will get that sent out to you, in a week or two. So just make sure you send me an email if you are the lucky winner of the giveaway that we're going to do in a couple of minutes here. I usually wrap the show up at about 1:15 mark on the program, so I could definitely keep going with the comments. They keep coming in.
Yeah, I could do it until 5:25 my time. I could.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, which is what? Okay, that's only 10 minutes anyway.
Yeah,
but that's typically beyond my typical range anyway.
It's all good.
So yeah. So and it looks like we got. I see channels have been that have gained 20,000 subscribers in the last 6 months, and they have 10 people on their live streams. So yeah, I think it can be a challenge to get people to tune in at a certain time and be there with you. So you really have to kind of cherish those folks and really embrace them, and hopefully they'll tell some friends, and that number will grow over time. So I think that's the big takeaway on that.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, and this now is everybody does this, they will consume content whenever they get the chance, either
it's
a week from now, 2 weeks from now,
on
the
demand.
same day. Yeah,
Right.
on demand. There's people that listen to our show from months ago, and they go back and listen to it. Like, there was this guy that hit us up and was like, "Hey, I listened to the whole amount of episodes from episode 500 to now," and
Right.
and they hit us up and like, wow, the person really consumed this for a very long time. So everybody's gonna be different, man.
Yeah, and Chantel wrote here, so I heard that the majority of podcasts don't usually get more than 27 downloads. Does that sound right? I live stream regularly, but I'm trying to learn to podcast. So it's hard to put every podcast in that bucket. The average, from what I've seen in the stats, is the median average of podcasting is around I think about 160 downloads. Now, obviously, there's going to be some shows that are small and some shows that are big, so it's kind of like, it depends on how long you've been doing it, what's your genre, how good the content is. There's just a lot of variables that go into it, so it's hard to really tag a specific number of downloads that would be anything specific to any particular podcast. So I don't know what you think about that, Danny. What's your thought?
Yeah, like the things I said earlier, like, it doesn't matter even if you get one download.
Right.
It's a download. Somebody took their time to search and to press play or to download. So it's not easy to do.
Made a connection there.
Exactly. Because think about this, guys, for those who are watching. Back in the days when you were listening to the radio, sometimes you just randomly find a station, you like a song, you just stay with it. Or maybe you like a conversational talk show, radio show, and you stay there, right? But you weren't like really searching for it. Like now, I could search for food, culture, Spanish speaking language, like anything, video games.
Yeah.
Now I'm taking my time to search and to find content that deals with the stuff that I want to listen to. It's a lot different, and it's a lot harder for people to do that because they're taking their time to search for something, and they like something to press play and go from there. So appreciate, even if it's just one download, appreciate it that you're at least you're getting that support from someone out there.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good way of looking at it. Now, granted, people do have expectations to earn an income or generate revenue from this. I think those expectations have pushed people into thinking they have to grow fast and they have to get big audiences really, really fast. And if they don't, then they're going to quit and all this kind of stuff.
Man, they can't. Look, man, everything takes time, man. Everything takes time. It's like, think of it as like a relationship. You don't want to like rush your relationship. It's going to end fast. So like when it comes to with the podcast, like for me, it took a while for me to started getting free games, started getting sponsorships, like everything.
And I'm sure it wasn't always easy.
It wasn't easy at all. I mean, I went to events. I've been to events with like $20, not knowing anybody, and I just showed up because I just wanted to attend the event. What is important, and I'm going to say this before I leave, but what is important is for you to master your craft. Master your craft when it comes to like creating content, on building your community. Focus on that instead of like looking at your downloads numbers and your view counts, because that comes and goes. There's going to be some time that you're going to get 100,000 downloads, and then it goes back down or goes back up. Like it's never going to be consistent. It's like the numbers are always going to change, man, because there's always going to be new content that people are going to find and discover, and people sometimes move on, sometimes they come back, or sometimes they'll stay.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, if you practice and you get better, opportunities are going to come up that's going to help you to get discovered and and a whole other things. So focus on that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Felix, hi back.
Oh, so anyway, Felix. Hey, how you doing, Felix?
Yeah. So I think what we should do next, because I think you're running out of time and I'm running out of time here too, and there's lots of comments in here, and believe me, I appreciate you spending the time to give us comments and give us feedback.
Anytime.
I really enjoyed kind of going through them, but I think we need to get to our giveaway here. Ooh. So let me pull that to the stage here, and we will. Let's see here. I have to share a different screen. This is the actual giveaway screen here. So there's a little button on there. So we have so far. So if you want to get in at the last minute here, just enter hashtag the yard into the comment field, and that will add you to the entry pool to win a Puddles and a StreamYard mug.
So, good luck, everyone.
Yeah. So I think we're up to 52 entries right now, and so let's go ahead. I don't see any new ones coming in. I think everyone has entered.
I saw one. It went up. One went up.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And let's go ahead and pull the cord here of sorts, or push the button and see who wins. And then I'll tell you how to get your winnings. So let's go ahead and do it. I'm gonna play a little background music here a little bit.
Yeah, we like to
Yes. Gamer music. All right, let's pull the cord here and see who's gonna win.
Ooh. Oh, right. Hip Hop History. There you go. Oh, snap.
Hip Hop History, you are the winner. Thank you so much for asking so many great questions tonight. It was great to reward the questioner out there.
It is perfect timing too. Perfect time, because last year was the 50th anniversary of hip hop. So
got it.
Yeah, so it was a lot of cool events, I'm a hip hop head too, man. So I just want to say that.
So send me an email. It's rob.greenlee@gmail.com, and give me your address, and I will get that off to the StreamYard team, and we'll get you a mug and a puddles sent out to you in the mail, shipped out to you soon. So thank you everybody for joining us here and on another episode of Podcast Tips with Rob Greenlee. Appreciate that. And Danny, thank you so much.
No, thank you, sir. Thank you for inviting me, and for people watching and sending questions and interacting with us. But please let me know your thoughts about this conversation. Should we do this in the future again? Let Rob know. Yeah. And follow me, Godfrey, or look up Danny Pena. You'll find me in different social media places. And the podcast, GamerTag Radio. If you're into gaming, you're curious about it, check it out.
Right now. So go check out GamerTag Radio. He's also on Twitch. And
yes.
I'm sure you have a YouTube channel too.
YouTube channel. Yeah, is Danny Pena. Just look up Danny Pena. It will pop up. Yeah. And check it out.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for being here with us tonight. And I will not be back with a new episode next week because I'm going to be in Orlando at PodFest doing my other live show and the Podcast Hall of Fame and a presentation on the convergent strategy between audio and video and podcasting. So that's what I'm up to. But I'll be back on February 1st with another episode of this show. So thank you so much and have a wonderful evening. And Danny, you also have a great evening as well. I know it's a little earlier for you because you're on the West Coast, but
5:23.
Super all early. Right, perfect timing then. All right.
Yes.
All right. Well, have a great night, and I'm gonna get us out of here. So thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.